So this is just my daily show upper. To be honest, I ain't even thought about the topic of the video, but I'm just gonna make some shit up, right? Not make some shit up because that sounds like very like inauthentic, but I'm just gonna talk about something and then we will find a topic. But yeah, I was just watching I was being very lazy today. Woke up, didn't do anything, right? Even though I was kind of learning about my interest, right? I was um learning about sharks. I'm reading a book about a great white shark, like study. It's about the sharks of the Farallon Islands. It's like a small island group of California. Those islands are uninhabited. There are only like two houses on that island, and you're only allowed to be there if you're like a marine biologist or like you're studying the birds over there, because it's also like a very known breeding spot for birds, basically for all the wildlife in that area. So over there are orcas are spotted, multiple type of seals, of course the great whites, and whales. So yeah, basically everything, multiple sharks, blue sharks, makos. But the interesting thing about that is that just shows the interconnectedness of life. And that won't even be the topic, but I was just want to talk about it. Like, people still don't realize that, like, there also was like something about pollution, and those things just make me mad, bro. People still think that they can just go about the world and dump their dirty shit in the ocean. Why? Because we don't live there, so who cares? Not realizing that we're only destroying ourselves. We share the same consciousness with all those animals. The only difference is our conscious is in a different degree, and in that sense we might need, and that might be the main reason why we shouldn't do those things. We got the brain capacity and the capacity to think about solutions. We can master not master, but we can think solutions for water, earth, fire, things like that. So it's basically our task to make sure that animals don't go extinct. Why? Because it's also our fault that they are going extinct. And is that something simple? Is that something that I have a main reason now for a main, well, how would I say it? A main solution for it? No, I don't have that solution. But that doesn't mean that it's not our task to every day basically be conscious about the things that we're contributing to this earth. But it doesn't happen like that. Why? Because we're too busy we have all these identifications stemming out of trauma. I just finished watching some bullshit with my own traumatized part of me, because I was being lazy and shit. So I was just scrolling. I was watching some basically it was like a documentary about a gang war in Sweden, and it was like the Shotters versus Death Patrol, which was like a gang war. But the names of that is not really important, but that just showed to me how trauma just disconnects you from everything. Because those group of people now fail to realize that they are just the same group of people. Not only do they share the same ethnicity, that doesn't even really matter. They fail to realize that material basically divided them. And now those gang wars are always like, you feel me? Eventually they be like, yeah, but he murdered my family and this and that. But that's not where it started. Those are just the symptoms of how a traumatized situation evolves. A situation revolving around trauma. Because that's not where the problem starts. Yes, he might Y'all might be like, yeah, but he's from there and I'm from over there, or I share this identification because, for instance, they identify themselves as this name, they as that. So automatically that creates tension, and that's how those labels are ruining people's lives, and also on like a grand scale, not only in this gang war, but and that's what trauma does, because you don't build that sense of self. You need to have something which you can lash onto. So you never build that sense of self. So you need this name, like, yeah, I must be the Crips, because otherwise I don't really know who I am. Why? Because you were basically born in a traumatized situation. All you had to do your entire life was surviving, having the feeling that you need to be overly tough, that you can't be yourself. So you just have the feeling like, no, I need to be Crips or Blood, because what am I else beyond that? Because basically you never knew, you don't even know how you are. And I get that. The same was for me. Like, I didn't even know who I was until I stopped doing that gang shit. Like, stopping being dumb, basically. Stopping identifying with shit that you're really not. And that's where it really started. So that's where it already starts. And then later on, those wars kind of like, yeah, it's about money. But that's not where it started. Because the main reason why you're also in that war is to buy things. The reason why it's about the money is so that you can buy things with the money to give you a sense of self. So that you can buy Gucci, so that you can buy Dior, so that you can buy this car, which is, with those things, there's nothing wrong with those things, but there is something wrong with accessing those things and attaining those things to the, like, what's the word? Like, there is something wrong with attaining those things if it affects other people in a negative way, and in like a real negative way that you like consciously like hurt them. And that's really what trauma does. So you're too traumatized. You need this label. You need that outer world gratification of the designer things, this and that and this and that. And that's where it all starts. Because, like, I will continue to say that the money, like, the money is not really important. And yes, money can make you feel like kind of like, yeah, but this and that, like, I never had those things. But at the end of the day, it don't really matter, because I also had designer things. I also had Nikes, but deep down I was still empty. And otherwise it can be the same thing. There are people that never wore anything that had a brand on it. Yes, there are the most confident people in the world, and a girl will still see them, or a person will still see them and be like, basically like impressed by their confidence, because that's just, you can't hide your confidence. If you're confident, you're that. You just walk, you will walk confident, you will talk confident, you will, everything you do will be confident, and people will be attracted by that. So then you will walk around with broken shoes, but people will still look at you and be like, damn, I'm impressed by it in a positive way. I'm impressed by him, I'm impressed by her. And they will want to talk to you. And the people that won't, which will be a very, very small number, will probably just be the people that are too traumatized and will label you as less. Why? Because you don't conform to their materialistic view of what a successful person is. So, oh no, he's not wearing Gucci, he's not wearing Dior, so he's automatically less. But not only won't that even affect you, because you won't really care about it, because you got your own internal sense of self, so that won't even bother you. And that's why I say, like, that money is not really, if you got your needs, your basic needs, then like money is not really that important. Will it make your life harder if you don't have like the designer things? I would say Yes, but not really, because to be honest, in the first stage of your life, you won't even care, bro. I was having Nikes on my feet when I was like a baby, even though my parents were not really in a position to buy. They just like, because they never had it, just wanted to be like, okay, let me just buy that for him, right? So they just bought that. I was never aware of that shit. I never cared in my life until I stopped being, basically until I stopped being myself. As soon as I stopped being myself, I started needing those labels. Why? Because you don't know, you no longer have that realness about you. When I was young, I was only concerned about learning about orcas, playing football, being outside. That was basically it. And later on in life, you start to look to the outside, go like, damn, what does he got? But we as traumatized people will do that in a sense, in a way which is way heavier than people that build that sense. We will always switch from like that self-sophisticated young person to somebody that becomes like a contributing member of the tribe. That's just a normal like evolving of you. That's just normal. But it will, the sense of self that you build will really depend on how far you will go to like receive that validation and things like that. So if you never build that strong self, which trauma does to you, then yes, it will be hard for you, because now all of a sudden you start to view yourself to the labels that people put onto you, like, oh no, he's not wearing Gucci, so yeah, I'm less. So that's also like a very hard truth. You make it hard for yourself. And now, like a couple years ago, I made it hard on myself too, because even though I was never bad off, my parents could afford Nikes, but I didn't have like the crazy designer, which I was like, damn, I want that too. Now I don't even care about that no more, because I realized life is not about that. Life is about your purpose, your own sense of self that you have, and the positive contribution that you make to life. So I made it hard for myself by labeling myself as less because I didn't dress like them. And I tried, but it also will never satisfy. Why? Because you can't keep up with the Kardashians. You can't keep up with Gucci. Hell no. Tomorrow there will be something new out. Gucci will bring something new out. Dior will bring something new out. Balenciaga will bring something new out. Louis Vuitton will bring something new out. You can never keep up with the Kardashians. People try it though, and that's how they end up broke. Which is also something that a lot of people don't really want to talk about. The reason why a lot of people are broke is not because you're born in an unfortunate situation, bro. I don't even care. If you're born in the Western world, you're not born in an unfortunate situation. Yes, your parent might not gave you this or that, but you had food on your table. You had you have the capacity, if you want, to improve your life. You can start improving your life from your phone just by what I'm doing now, just talking to people. Eventually somebody be like, yeah, this dude, he spits facts. I'm willing to pay him to gain some knowledge from him. Right? So that just shows like trauma disconnects you from that. Because all those labels that you need to gain that sense of self, you need the designer. So people that doesn't wear designer are less. And you will do that for yourself. So you don't wear designer, you're less. And people live on the other side of the block. They are different. Why? Because they don't share the same postal code. People do this or that, share different hobbies. And you overtly identify with the hobby. So you're the hobby because you never build that sense of self. And that can be a positive thing if that's gonna make you grind every day to become like successful within that. But it won't be if you're just like, no man, this is I support this club and he's from that club, so he's automatically different. That's why The funny thing is, bro, all those things, you need to really pay attention to the people that are doing those things, that are labeling people because of that are like hating on people because they don't share like the same view of life or the shit or the same labels that they gave themselves. There are always unhappy people, aka in my word, just traumatized people, which is a lot of them. Because ain't nobody is putting himself in jail because he is from that street. And then yes, they might tell themselves like, yeah, but it was about the money. No, it's not really about the money, bro. That's what you like to convince yourself. Yeah, but I did it because of... No, that's not where the beef started. You feel me? It started already because you were overtly labeling. It already started when you justified your act of violence because he is from that street, or he looks different, or this or that, whatever the reason. That's where it already started. So I'll say like only traumatized people are worried about racism. Feel me? Only traumatized, only people that, like, I will never scream that Black Lives Matter shit. Why? Because it's on bullshit to me. Like, I got a strong enough sense of self to, I don't need nobody's validation to be like, oh yeah, your life matters. And this has nothing to do with race. This is just an example. I will never do that. Just me, like, basically begging, like, yeah, please tell me that I matter. No. That's why I say, like, wars start because of those labels, of those identifications that you give yourself, which are not even really valid. Yes, you are like maybe like Arab. Yes, you are black. Yes, you are this or that, but that's not where it ends. Nowadays people don't see the connectedness of everything within life. So nowadays people think like, yeah, you got earth and you got black and you got white and you got fish and you got mammals and we're not connected. We just only share this planet. But that already, basically, I just realized how stupid that was. Like, so, of course we're connected if we share the same planet. Because that's really fun. It's like living in a house, because the planet is basically like our house, and you could see it as, so I got my room. Let's say I'm living with mammals, reptiles, whatever in this house, and I will just kill them and like throw them like on my bed or something, and then say like, and then think that it won't affect me. How? I did this shit in my own room. So not only will I eventually notice it, because let's say the mammal that I killed made sure that the reptiles were like in control. Now all of a sudden I got like 1,000 snakes. Or I got all these mosquitoes flying around, which is not something that is uncommon in this age of time. Mosquitoes out of check, just flying around, killing people. Was it happening always? Of course. Is it happening now on a more grand scale because because the balance of Earth is becoming disturbed and there's no longer, the food chain is no longer in balance, so we're basically only killing I would say the animals that are like higher up on the food chain, which we think that will benefit us the most, because we won't kill like mosquitoes for like dinner. You feel me? We only kill the big animals that we can eat, things like that, which will just fuck up a whole system, which we are a part of, but we fail to realize that because we got all these labels. Like, I'm not connected with a fish. I'm a human being. You feel me? And which is true, but it doesn't stop there. Like, nowadays people just like, I'm a human being, dot. Like, that's where it stops. That's a fish, dot. That's just where it stops. Like, for the rest, I have no connection with it. Which is just funny. Which is just funny. And people with a strong sense of self will no longer live in a life that they hate. And that's not me saying that there's something wrong with the job you're doing right now, but there is something wrong with doing the job your entire life and never trying to be at least become a free human being. That's something wrong, because that's entirely on you. That has nothing to do with who else. Like, that has nothing to do with the situation you're born in. Because that's also like a very common thing that a lot of these victimized people that are traumatized, and I can't blame you, because that's really what trauma does, but it's really up to you, and that's a very hard truth. But nowadays people are like 30 and then they will be like, yeah, bro, but look at him, bro. He is the same age as me, and he now he's driving the BMW, but like when we was 10, he already had like parents who gave him everything. So yeah, I could never do that because like his parents were different. But failing to realize that that might be true, but the things that you did up to your 30s could already be like a contribution to your own success, but you never allowed that because you was too busy worrying about people. So instead of investing your hard-earned $500 that you had in like a course to potentially invest in your own future and make your own future for the better, you didn't do that. No, you was too worried about buying Gucci, things that don't matter, to receive validation from the next person. Why? Because you're too traumatized. You never had that sense of self, like, okay, I am safe within my own skin. I don't need to put those designers on me to gain some validation. The designer is never bad, but it is bad when you're losing yourself in it. That's really funny. That's why those cycles need to be broke. Because if you will be a victim, then your child will just be a victim, and before you know, you will be 10 generations down the line, and not only will nobody within that generation live up to its own potential, they will also actually be a contribution in the destroying of Earth, because traumatized people are the people that are destroying the Earth. And that's also like something like it even sounded like basically crazy in my like eyes, because but that's what you will do, because a traumatized person always need the outer identifications. So like I've said, then you will just no longer feel connected with Earth, because you're just that. You're just a crib from 30th Street. You're not connected with nothing in this area. So you can just, bro, let me just throw this beer can over there. Let me just do this. Let me just do that. That's also something very, very funny. Bro, happy people are not the people who are littering. And that's why also like things as littering are also so prevalent in like third world countries, because that's the countries with the most trauma. People with the most disconnectedness of Earth. And we all know that has deep reasons. Like, you feel me? That's really something that has deep reasons. People are maybe put in that situation through slavery. People are put in those situations through whatever. So that has deep reasons, but the the hard thing about that is like, which is also the same like with trauma, you might be traumatized because of the next person, but it is your responsibility. Because if I can blame my finger at like my dad right now, like, yeah, my dad traumatized me. My dad can point his finger to like my granddad, and we will just go down the line, and eventually we will point probably our finger, not even being like, not making this like racially motivated or something, because it's not. But we can go down the line and point our finger at like a slave master and be like, yeah, he traumatized our like generation, so yeah, that's the reason why I'm not successful. The hard truth is that that period is over, and that's why like I also don't believe in like these people really worrying about slavery too much, and that's a hard truth. But like, what will that really change about our situation? Is it fucked up? Yes. Are people still in situations because of that? Yes. But that's just the whole point of trauma. And this also goes for white people. Like, the reason why you're traumatized might probably, not even might probably, is 99.9% the times of the times it's because of another person. But life goes on, so you can wait on that person's apology. And that's just like, for me, like me pointing my finger at my dad right now and be like, yeah, my dad traumatized me, and then let's say he eventually, which he does, he eventually realized like, yes, I was wrong. And then he will just be like, and then he will just tell me sorry. And then he will also be like, yeah, but I was also traumatized because of my dad. And then now, like, we have no longer anybody to point our fingers to, because even like for like a slave master, it's basically the same thing, because a slave master can also, there's a reason why he became the way he became. So that's not just something like he was just born that way, because nobody is born with hate. So then you will also just realize that there's not really a person to point your fingers to. And this has nothing to do with if a person now walks up to you and tries to be like violent. That has nothing to do with that. Then you still need to act according that situation, but you need to free yourself from the trap of pointing your fingers, because it will change nothing about it. You will die if you continue to point your fingers at people. You will die. And bro, like the anger, you will feel the anger when you're like healing trauma. You will go through those times. I also have those times when I be like, yeah, but it's my parents' fault because but like, it will fix nothing. So I should always say, like, you need to feel that anger. That's something actually good, because I also think that's really like part of the grieving process and of the healing process. You need to grow like through that anger, and if it helps, you might indirectly like write a letter to somebody that you feel like, that person traumatized me, which is also a good part of healing, like just writing a letter and actually let out all the anger, like use cuss words, use whatever you want. I don't recommend sending it to that person or telling it to that person, because you need to really realize the deepness of this. Because so you feel like that the things that you're doing right now is somebody else's fault, right? So you really need to realize, if you will approach the person that you feel is at fault, or you feel like that traumatized you, that person will do the same thing, because we all got that egotistical like little child within us that just can't handle rejection, or just can't handle the truth, really, like things like that. So we will always be defensive, not even really handle the truth, because we wouldn't even label it really as a truth, because it's just truth is all 9 out of 10 times is subjective. If the truth is too hard for you, then you won't realize that it's the truth. Then you will be like, no, but it was his fault. It was his fault. It was her fault. It was her fault. And that's something really important to realize, because then you will realize there's nobody to point your fingers to. All you can do is heal yourself and take the next person with you. Take the next person with you and help the earth once you healed yourself and realize what's for you in life. Because the non-traumatized persons are also the people that are making like the biggest contribution to life, really, in a sense that those are oftentimes the entrepreneurs, people that are doing things basically with their own interests because it's authentic. You will always feel like the lack of somebody's authenticity when he's doing something that he doesn't like, opposed to a person who does what he likes, loves doing. So yeah, that's just me, another example of how everything is really connected. Everything is really connected. There aren't really too much people you can point your fingers at, which is like really like a very hard truth. That's why I say, like, bro, you're like, I can't imagine myself, like, let's say somebody just lost their son because their son just got killed by somebody, and of course then you can't say to that person like, yo, but he was really like traumatized, and you feel me, like you feel me. So that's like very hard, even though deep down that's the real truth. You feel me? Deep down that's the real truth. Like, you can look at all those, like, the pictures of serial killers when they were younger. They started off as happy kids. Like, you see those kids 3 years old laughing, 1 year, no matter how old they are. It's a real reason why people become that, like so out of connection with nature. So yeah, that's really important to realize, like, all you can do is heal yourself, improve the world through it. And yeah, like, use the pointing fingers to heal, I would say, because you also need to feel like the anger to let it go. So, but don't fall in the trap that you will be the dude that will just point their fingers at everybody and actually like really expresses it in the outer world. Like, I would say, like, bro, like, if you have like a journaling, bro, journal about whoever you think is at fault for the reason why you are in life, the way you are. I would say that's effective, right? But don't fall in the trap of not bringing it back to yourself, because that's also how you will never, if somebody else is at fault, you automatically basically say, like, it's your responsibility to heal me or improve me, which will never happen. You can only improve you. You can only heal you. So that's how you will become passive in life, because it's somebody else's fault. Like, nah, the government need to help me out of my situation. I can't really do nothing. All I can do is be passive in life and blame about the government. You feel me? And you really need to be aware of it, because that's really like, if somebody told me those things like 2 years ago, I would be like, bro, it's easy talking for you, man. You never had to go to trauma. Not realizing that that was just like a form of my own trauma. Bro, it was easy for you, man. You grew up like that, like, you feel me? Those things you need to be aware of. And like I've said, the sad truth is you might be right. Yes, he might probably grew up like easier in your eyes than you. Nothing will change about the situation that you need to do something about yourself and improve yourself and heal yourself and add value through the world, through that. To the world. And add value to the world, to that. So, yeah, that was my message for today. I will leave my Twitter link in my description of the video. TikTok also, like I'm also active on there. It's different content. TikTok I post, of course, like tweets, so that's more like writing, writing. And like TikTok I post like day in the life videos or just like short motivational videos, really like all kind of stuff, workouts. And yeah, if you want me helping you with like your self-improvement journey, hit me up on like Twitter or TikTok. Just send me a DM and we can talk about whatever you're struggling with. I can give you advice on what I would do, what I think is most beneficial for you to do. And yeah, then in that way I would just try to help you. It's entirely free, so yeah, just hit me up. So yeah, that was basically my video. If you like this shit, might as well like it, you feel me? Because otherwise there's no point to liking it, you feel me? So if you like this shit, like it. If you want to subscribe, might as well subscribe, you feel me? If not, that's cool. Stay improving, stay healing, stay grinding, stay improving, stay doing all that shit, which is good, right? And stay doing none of that and quit doing none of that. And don't do none of the things that are bad. You know what I mean, bro? So yeah, I'm out.